Welcome back to my channel. In this week's tutorial, we're going to be doing a celestial inspired press-on nail set. We are going to be using some products from our newest collection, which is our new art gels. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on our weekly polygel or press-on nail tutorials. For today's set, I really wanted to do a square nail shape and in a longer length. So these are the nail tips I'm going to be using. This is my first time using these nail tips from Amazon. These actually fit really nicely for my nail beds and they are already pre-etched on the inside. For your press-on nails, you just want to make sure they fit nicely from sidewall to sidewall. You should be able to do this without applying too much pressure or forcing the nail down. For example, this is way too small of a size for me, so I would need to size up. And this is way too big of a size. If you're in between sizes, you'll want to go with the bigger size and then just file down the sides. I'll probably use these nail tips again, but I would probably trim them down versus trying to reshape them because the edges are already really rounded, which is the only thing I didn't like about them. But otherwise, they're pretty solid nail tips, but I just really like that very square shape. So I didn't love how the edges were kind of already rounded and tapered in. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and put our press-on nails onto the nail stand. We're just gonna be using these adhesive tabs. If you're using putty, I would recommend just switching over to adhesive tabs. They're much cleaner and easier to use, and they're actually a lot stronger. Makes it very easy to put your press-on nails onto the stand. And here I am reshaping everything. So this is where I kind of mean about the edges are already kind of rounded and tapered in. So I would probably trim them more next time or just use like a different nail tip that I have, but I did like how these fit on me and I did like how they were pre-etched, so they definitely have that going for them. So now we're just gonna remove any dust and cleanse, remove any dust from underneath, and we are ready for nail art. So for the base, I'm gonna be using some gel polishes from our Sugarplum Fairy gel polish collection. I'm also gonna be using some of our new art gels, so I just wanted to share kind of a preview of what this collection looks like if you haven't seen it already. This is really great year round, and we're gonna be using Winter's Veil for the base and then layering Aurora petal gel polish on top of that. I just did a thin layer of each. Winter's Veil is a really nice pearlescent white with kind of a silver gray undertone, and it's really nice to layer beneath other colors. And these polishes are very buildable. They're really fun to layer. They're fun to use as a base or for nail art, and they have a lot of stunning different effects. So Aurora petal is definitely one of our more popular colors. As you can see, the shift in it is just really, really stunning. And here's a comparison of Aurora petal just applied normally with 2 coats on the bottom, and then on the top what we're doing for this press-on nail set with just a sheer thin layer over Winter's Veil. So you can definitely have a lot of fun with these colors and kind of play around with them. And then we're also going to be using the Celestial Love collection. So everything is available on doperthanyournails.com. Everything will be linked in the description. And I did set up a special discount code just for YouTube, which is very simple. Just code YouTube at checkout for 10% off. We're going to be using pretty much every color from this collection for either a base or nail art or some sort of texture. So I just wanted to show a quick preview of that, and then we will go in with some of the colors for our base before we get into the actual nail art. These are a thicker consistency than our gel polishes, kind of similar to a gel paint, but they're still very easy to work with and very self-leveling. They're not overly thick to the point that they're gonna like clump up. So it's a very balanced formula, and it also comes with a free art gel brush for easy application, or you can also order the brush individually. So we're gonna go ahead and take Lunar Gaze and use that as our base for the third nail. I'm just gonna use our art gel brush to apply a thin layer of that. And kind of like I mentioned before, because we are layering a bunch of different colors, we're just using kind of a thin layer of each, just so we don't make everything overly thick and all the different effects kind of come through and don't get covered up by each other. So here is Lunar Gaze. If you wanted to do a second layer, you could do that as well. For this press-on nail set, just the bases alone looked really, really stunning, and I kind of just wanted to leave them like that, but of course I had a whole nail set planned out, but you can just see how fun the shift in this color is as well. It's kind of a milky white. And then we are taking Rose Solstice and Aurora Petal, also from the Sugarplum Fairy collection, and we are gonna mix the two. I've been mixing a bunch of colors from this collection lately and also using a lot of the colors just on their own, but I think this has to be one of my favorite mixtures I've done so far. The liquid chrome finish and Aurora Petal mixed with Rose Solstice is just, it is just so like dreamy, and it just goes so perfectly together. I was really surprised at how good this turned out, and this is definitely one of my favorite mixtures that I'm probably going to be using from here on out. It just kind of blended together so seamlessly, and it applied so smooth as well. I really love how this looked just on its own before I added anything else. But of course, there are just so many details I wanted to add in with this collection, and I wanted to use as many shades as possible. So I'm taking Solar Synastry. This is a metallic gold color with like kind of reddish orange undertones, like reddish orange, pinkish undertones. You can kind of see it here. It's a very unique chrome color. So I just wanted to put a little bit of that on top of that with kind of this sponge tool. So it's a very subtle effect, but we're also going to be using this color to do some line work as well, because it's really perfect for that too. Using these sponge tools to do like kind of ombre and aura effects. We're not doing that for this nail, but it's also really great to just add like a subtle finish over the entire nail. You can get them on Amazon, and ignore the piece of lint that got on there and cured. It was too late by the time I noticed, but we're just gonna keep moving on. Now we're using North Node, which is a really bright pink packed with a ton of glitter. It really creates like a fun velvet finish, but it's also very smooth to apply. As you can see, I'm doing a very thin layer over Winter's Veil. So I did put Winter's Veil underneath some of the other nails as well, including this one. So this is the 4th nail. So just a thin layer of Winter's Veil and then North Node on top. And then for the pinky, we're doing a layer of Rose Solstice. And then we're doing Venus Embrace on top, which is another one of our art gels. This is like an electric pink, also with a chrome shift. Using our art gel brush and applying that right over. This mixture is kind of similar to the one with Aurora Petal, but it's a little bit more intense because Venus Embrace is a true kind of electric neon pink. But these two also blended together very seamlessly. But for this one, I layered them on top of each other versus mixing them together. And I also really love how this turned out. Just such a fun color. And this is how the bases looked. So you can see why I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of just want to leave them like this. But I definitely took videos and photos before moving on. Getting into the nail art. So we're doing a celestial inspired nail set, kind of, you know, inspired by our collection theme. So I'm taking Winter's Veil and I'm going to do a planet nail design. So we're just drawing a circle and filling that in. Winter's Veil is, I've said this like a million times, but it is so great for so many different things. Like I love when I'm doing nail art like this and I can just pick up this color and it adds a really fun effect just with that color alone. So you can see how it really created a fun effect for this planet nail design. And these are all the colors in the collection. So we're going to be going in with Venus Embrace and we're going to be doing some shading with that and just adding some dimension and some more color. So as you can see, our art gels are very versatile, our gel polishes as well, but definitely our art gels, you know, you can use them, you know, you can use a small amount of them just to add like shading or different, you know, layering different colors and effects. Super smooth and easy to do that with all of the different colors. So I'm just using kind of a stippling motion and applying Venus Embrace kind of in 3 different spots. And you can kind of see the planet nail coming to life just with these 2 colors. Like the Winter's Veil underneath is just, it's such a hack to use like a pearlescent color to create a really multi-dimensional effect for your nail art without having to do anything really. And so for my shading, once I've done like 1 layer, I'll go back in and add more if needed. I try to work in layers and kind of build it up versus doing more because it's always easier to add more versus going back and trying to remove too much. And now we're going to be taking Saturn Return, which is this really fun berry red color, also with kind of a shimmery velvet finish, and we're going to be doing a little bit of shading with that as well. We're going to pack that on top of the Venus Embrace. I cured everything before and we're just concentrating this on certain areas just again to add in some more interesting colors and kind of bring out some more dimension on certain parts of the circle that we had drawn. So I'm just going to continue using that stippling motion and kind of bringing that color across to the different areas that we had already kind of put the Venus Embrace color over. Next, we're gonna use Supernova. This is a solid color, so we do have more solid colors now, which is really fun. And I'm gonna use this to draw the ring that goes around planets. If there's a term for this, I should know it, but I don't recall at all. I don't know if we ever learned that in school or not, but anyways, this color was really perfect for that. And then I went ahead and blended Supernova with Saturn return, and I'm just using kind of a micro detailer brush and just kind of blending that out to kind of create a cloudy effect. And this is how it's looking. This is my favorite nail that I did out of the entire set. It was just like super fun and easy to do with all these different colors. And even with Supernova, it was so easy to just do like the line around the planet and make it very precise and thin. And now I'm using lunar gaze to add some stars, and north node as well to do some kind of 3D hearts. So the glitters have a little bit more texture to them, so they're really fun for adding texture or kind of like more 3D elements. So I did that over here with the heart. It complemented the stars really well. So yeah, like I said, the art gels are super versatile. So if you're looking for, you know, a collection of like 8 shades that you can use in different ways, this is definitely the collection for you. I really try to do my best to kind of thoughtfully curate everything so that there's, you know, a variety of colors, there's kind of a story behind the theme, and the products themselves are kind of multifunctional. This is how it turned out. I am obsessed with this design. I kind of just freestyled this off of a picture off Pinterest, but then, you know, used the color palette that we had, but this was definitely my favorite nail out of the entire set. So we just had to take a moment to, you know, appreciate that before we move on. This is how it looks with kind of no light and then just kind of my desk light at full capacity. So super pretty either way. And now we're gonna move on to the second nail. We're gonna take solar synastry, and this is really great for line work as well. So I really did not know what I wanted to do on this nail, so I just kind of freestyled it. I started doing some line work with solar synastry and then cured that. And then I went in with lunar gaze and added some circles along that, just kind of keeping in line with kind of the celestial, you know, outer space astrology theme. And then this is a new product that I'm working on that should be releasing later this year that I'm very excited about. I won't share more about it other than what I'm kind of showing here, but very exciting to bring some new gel products into our store. So I just went ahead and took a dotting tool and kind of swirled that around. For this nail, I just decided to kind of go with more textured, kind of let the texture be the design, and then I went ahead and added some charms. I haven't been using a ton of charms lately, but I have so many, and I've used these before. These are from Michael's, just randomly bought them at a Michael's in LA like 2 years ago, so, but I really like how they have like the flat back, so they're super easy to apply, and they were stars and moon variety in this pack, so they were super easy to just apply with some gel glue and then cure and top coat around that. Now moving on to the third nail. So I'm taking solar synastry and we're gonna do kind of a frame design. So I'm just making the bottom of that a little bit thicker and then filling that in. So again, solar synastry is also very versatile. All of our art gels are. I can use it to do line work like I'm doing here. And I did double up on, I did kind of like 2 coats more or less, just because the base is kind of dark. It kind of blends together with the solar synastry. So if you had a lighter base, it would definitely pop a lot more. But that being said, even with, you know, 1 generous coat and then 2 coats for safe measure, you know, the line work turned out great. So I'm just doing some kind of like circles at the edges, just kind of outlining the kind of points of the frame and filling that in. Gonna do that on all 4 corners. Trying to make them as even as possible and kind of make sure they're all lined up. And then just going in with my liner brush and filling in the sides with just a long line, connecting everything. Now we are taking Saturn Return again, which is that deep berry red color. I love every color in this collection, but this is definitely one of my favorites. We're gonna draw a point at the center for where the heart will kind of meet, and then draw both sides of it. And just go ahead and mirror that on the other side. I usually flip my nail around when I'm doing press-on nails. Just makes it easier. You can't do that when you're doing that with your hand, but you can do that with press-on nails, makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm taking my art gel brush and just filling everything in. This brush is free with every collection purchase, or you can purchase it separately, and it makes it really easy to apply the art gel. But I actually ended up just using it to fill in the heart, and it was super easy here because it does have kind of a tapered rounded head, and then you can use your liner brush to fill in anything that you think needs to be refined. I went ahead and cured that, and now I'm taking solar synastry again and just outlining the heart with that gold shade, just so we can add a little bit of more detail. And then I'm doing kind of a star sun design at the center, just kind of keeping with the celestial theme. And then you all know I love drawing clouds, so I went ahead and added Winter's Veil to draw some clouds around the heart. Super easy, just use a dotting tool and then add a little bit of polish onto your brush and just use kind of a stippling motion, and before you know it, you will have a bunch of really fun cloud designs. I went ahead and cured that, and then I did want to add this color Eternal Eclipse. This is also a really stunning color. The sparkle in it honestly looks like glistening diamonds. The camera just does not do it justice, but I wanted to use a little bit of that color, so I added some dots on the center, on the edges of the frame, and then I went ahead and added some very minimal shading on the clouds with that color as well. But definitely the sparkle effect came through with those little dots, but definitely looking forward to using this color a lot more in different sets. And yeah, I kind of decided at that point, okay, this is enough for this nail, so we're gonna top coat it and move on. So this is how this nail turned out. Super fun, very glittery and shimmery. And then for our fourth nail, we're gonna do a constellation design. So I'm just taking some white gel polish and we're just drawing the dots of the constellation, a lot of angles and kind of sharp corners. And then I left the dots uncured and then just loaded up my liner brush with white and then went ahead and connected everything. That definitely makes it easier if you leave the dots uncured and then drag your liner brush through it. I think it makes it look a little bit more seamless. And then I went ahead and repeated that on the bottom half of the nail, just kind of doing a different design, but again, kind of with those sharp angles and turns. Seems to kind of be the general aesthetic for some of the constellation inspiration that I looked up. And then of course, lunar gaze for just some kind of stars in the background, super easy. And then I added some lunar gaze over the constellation as well, just for a little bit more effect. This is how this nail turned out. And I forgot to mention, I did top coat or matte top coat most of the bases before doing my nail art, just because it makes it a little bit easier to draw. So you can try that as well. And then for the fourth nail, super easy. We're just gonna be doing kind of an aurora chrome texture design. So again, I'm using that unreleased product that will be coming out sometime this year. And just kind of dragging that back and forth, going horizontally across the nail. And then I went ahead and cured that once it was to my liking, and then I rubbed on some Aurora Chrome Powder. This is just from Amazon. And once that was to my liking, I went ahead and cured it. I did go the other way as well, just to make sure I was really getting in there. Using the little applicators is easier, but I just didn't have one. Dusted that off after curing and top coated, and that was it. Keeping it super simple for the last nail, but still a very stunning and fun design. And here is the final result. I ended up just doing 5 nails. I was gonna do 10 originally, but then I was like, let's just do 5, but you can definitely repeat this design for your other hand. And yeah, so you can shop all these products on our website. Use code YouTube for 10% off. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in next week's video.